Test, 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 test. Test, test, test. Test, 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 test. Well, hello, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me from my usual office over here at the United Lounge at San Francisco Airport, coming freshly from the Microsoft Teams launch event. First take on my first impressions on the product as usual. Well, it was a satellite event. The main event was in New York. I attended in San Francisco. Still very good because there was probably more quality time and less of a crowd to speak to product managers, product developers, executives. So definitely worth the trip because, I mean, team productivity has always been something which is really important for businesses. As soon as companies grow, they put in charge managers of teams, and how efficient they can communicate and work with their teams is a do and die, a stand and fall, a success or not success for many of the teams. So important and interesting to see that Microsoft, some people might say, even finally discovers Teams, launches the Teams product, is the newest member of the Office product family. So good to see that being addressed, and no surprises, there's pressure from a number of other collaboration chat-based applications which make Microsoft's life a little harder in that area, right? And given that I learned like over 80 million active users, that's a substantial base of users there, which is important for Microsoft to find an answer part of Office. And it's equally delivered as a both web app or as a thick client app like the rest of Office is recommended to use that, of course, no question asked about that. Modern new UI of Office, same suite benefits as usual. And it's, I would say, a pretty viable version 1, right? It's always difficult how much you put in a version 1, how much is in a version 1. For a team productivity application with all the benefits, as I mentioned, be part of Office. And Microsoft does what suite level vendors who have multiple assets in the market does really well, and Microsoft does it really well. It leverages Skype, for instance, chat pieces for synchronous collaboration, doing calls, doing videos. It, of course, has plugged in OneNote, has plugged in Planner. It also has plugged in on their meeting something which is the Outlook calendar. So that's something good to see that it's completely available there. And I'll talk about that a little more in a moment. So good enough UI, productive enough to use, I would say. Interesting way of combining things on a channel perspective. So well done for first release, definitely. My concern is it creates another place to check on things, right? People are not there to spend all the day in any software application or in Office or any of them. So there's another place for me to look and check, apart from email, because there might be still the eventual email email. So I'm not talking about an email killer versus not going to go away. I think it's important for Microsoft and for Microsoft customers to bring the two together, as employees have to do outside of the enterprise communication and collaboration. It's important Microsoft in this version 1 says it's only internal for internal teams, not for external, not even for the whole enterprise. As we learned that Teams scales to 600, which is pretty big and wild team from a perspective, but it's not the whole enterprise. And many people have questions about how does Yammer relate to Teams. So there you have it. Yammer scales for the whole enterprise. Teams for teams, even very large teams of up to 600 members, but a different purpose. So definitely a good start. Good for Microsoft to leverage the whole Office suite. Good for Microsoft to equally work on the security message around this. Customers expect for Microsoft to have a secure application, know about data residency, know about compliance in that perspective. I like that compliance was managed as a topic. It's high on the agenda for executives. I'm making sure that all their applications, but also their productivity applications, are in a compliant mode with legislation and latest changes, which are fluidly changing right now, which is a significant challenge. Also good to see that Microsoft had substantial partner uptake, partner conversation. Early customers were Accenture, Hendrix, the car racing team, and Alaska Airlines back in New York, over in San Francisco, closer to where many of the modern startups are. Partnership and people live there from Asana, the task management application, and Zenefits, the help IT desk application, all natively integrated into Teams. So very good ecosystem